How many of you have seen firsthand how methamphetamine can ruin a life? I have. Two of my relatives, whom I've never been able to have a relationship with due to their drug use, have allowed to ruin their lives. I have watched from a distance as meth has caused them to physically deteriorate, as they have lost jobs, friends, family members, and possessions, and even spent time in jail and prison. According to drugabuse.gov, meth's highest availability is in the western and midwestern regions of the United States, but more than 70% of local law enforcement agencies in the Pacific and West Central regions of the United States report meth as the largest drug threat in their area. Methamphetamine is a highly addictive drug that ruins lives and should be avoided at all costs. Three of the most damaging ways meth addiction can ruin lives is through physical effects, damage to social health, and financial ruin. So in order to better understand why methamphetamine is so dangerous, let's start with what it is and how it affects the body. What is methamphetamine? Why are people using it? And what are the physical effects of using it? According to drugabuse.gov, methamphetamine is a powerful and highly addictive stimulant that affects the central nervous system. Meth, crystal, crystal meth, blue, and ice are just a few of its street names. Teens.drugabuse.gov states that meth is made from many hazardous chemicals such as acetone, anhydrous, ammonia, ether, red phosphorus, and lithium, which can cause many damaging effects. According to DEA.gov, meth comes in powder or pill form and can be smoked, snorted, or injected. Here are some of the different forms of meth. Why are people using meth? An article featured on PBS.org states that users report a rush of pleasure or a prolonged state of euphoria, as well as an increase in energy, focus, confidence, and feelings of desirability. They further report that over time, meth destroys dopamine receptors in the brain, making it harder to feel pleasure. This leads to users needing more of the drug and more frequently. There are endless negative effects of using methamphetamine, both short and long term. According to the National Center of Biotechnology Information and the United States National Library of Medicine, short-term effects include decreased appetite, nausea, psychosis, which includes paranoia, delirium, hallucinations, delusions, etc., tachycardia, hypertension, which can lead to heart attack, stroke, and death, increased body temperature, panic attacks, dilated pupils, disturbed sleep patterns, seizures, irritability, convulsions, and violent, bizarre, and erratic behaviors. In addition to the many short-term side effects of using meth, there are just as many equally scary long-term side effects on their website. Severe tooth degeneration, also known as meth mouth, lasting damage to both the blood vessels of the heart and the brain, lung, liver, and kidney damage, respiratory issues from smoking it, damage to soft nose tissue from snorting it, depression, severe psychological dependence, and damage to the structure of the brain, comparable to Alzheimer's, epilepsy, and stroke. The Alcohol and Drug Foundation states that by using an IV to inject methamphetamine into the body decreases the risk of users contracting infections, tetanus, and vein damage. They also report that by using needles, they have a greater risk of overdosing, and when sharing needles with other users, they risk contracting hepatitis B, C, and AIDS. Now that we have an understanding of what meth is and how it affects the body, let's next learn how it can negatively impact our social health. Social health refers to our relationships, family, friendship, and romantic, which can be greatly impacted by meth use. According to drugabuse.com, once meth users are addicted to methamphetamine, they have one goal: to get and use the drug. Meth becomes their complete focus. So time they would normally put in their relationships is put into anything having to do with the drug. Secrecy due to feeling of shame, guilt, and fear of judgment is another way drugabuse.com states that relationships are negatively affected. Meth users lie a lot, where they are, who they're with, why they're acting differently, etc., which can result in distancing and isolation as well as a breakdown in trust. Increased anger, mood swings, and irritability are well-known side effects of using meth, which can lead to violence in relationships. Another way drugabuse.com discusses possible relationship breakdowns is through enabling. The enabler often finds himself making excuses for the user, working hard not to upset them, reducing the user's responsibilities, and taking the blame for the user's actions and behaviors. Lastly, let's talk about how meth use can cause financial strain and ruin. Once a user has become methamphetamine dependent, structural changes are made to the brain and how it works. According to AmericanAddictionCenter.org, compulsive drug-seeking behaviors often occur and lead to poor decision-making, which then leads to financial distress. They consistently ignore responsibilities and obligations. Methamphetamine users' grades, work ethic, and performance typically decrease. Abusers often end up dropping out of school or losing jobs due to frequent absences and abnormal behavior. This leads to major financial strain and can result in the user becoming homeless. American Addiction Center's website states that side effects of methamphetamine dependence lower inhibitions and increase risk-taking actions. This might include stealing, breaking and entering, robbery, etc. These actions often lead to jail and/or prison, which adds more financial strain to individuals and families. Someone that uses meth, as stated at recoveryconnection.com, might end up with a strained relationship with their boss and coworkers due to inconsistent performance and attendance. In conclusion, let's review what we've learned about methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is a highly addictive drug that ruins lives and should be avoided at all costs. We learned that meth is why people use it and how bad it is for your body. We learned how toxic meth can be to social health and how it can leave individuals and their families in financial ruin. Meth use and abuse is a very real thing and it's happening all around us. The information presented speaks for itself as to why meth should be avoided. I'll leave you with a few before and after photos of individuals who should have never tried it for the first time.